Hello there and welcome back to another review. So like I've said before, I do try and keep things varied and mixed with my movie reviews. So here on the channel, well, I'm going to I'm going all out now, right? Going crazy with 1981's Possession, starring Sam Neill and Isabelle Adjani, and directed by Andrzej uławski, who is a fantastic, amazing director, which I won't go into too much today, but it's a brilliant filmmaker. Now, this movie is like a psychological horror drama, and it really does contain more than enough elements of each of them concepts. I mean, this is a film that contains so much that it's almost even hard to classify and label actually what the film is. There's a lot to be going. There's a lot going on in this movie. I mean, our two leads in this are absolutely fantastic. Adjani in particular gives an absolute tour de force performance, and like Kubrick, like Hitchcock, this is a filmmaker, right? Make no mistake, like Uławski was a filmmaker who had a touch, a style, a way of injecting his own take into a scene, a camera placement, angles, mood, all these things. When you pay attention, if you look at this film sort of just from the way it's directed, he has got such a style. As I say, when you're talking about like other filmmakers like Hitchcock, like Kubrick, he's definitely got, as I say, his own thing going. Mood, everything, all works in there. Like the film starts as like when this movie starts. I mean, if you haven't seen this movie, I'm going to be going through the plot here, but like glancing over the plot. So if you don't want spoilers, please, don't feel you have to watch the rest of the review. But the film starts as a very violent breakup, then turns into like a psychological paranoid drama. Then turns into sort of like a creature feature, and like I say, the movie doesn't skimp on any of these categories. Like, it's all these things at once, and the way it sort of mixes all these and achieves all them is flawless. Like, it really is flawless, and that is no small feat. And this is one of them movies you can just take at face value, or you can watch it again and again and look at all them hidden layers and meanings that the film is trying to tell us. Now, there are so many metaphors in the movie, being set in a Cold War era Berlin. The fact that one could argue that maybe the creature doesn't exist, and it's just a symbol. The wall in the movie being a symbol of divorce. There's loads of things you can read into in this movie. All these things I won't go too deep into now, as we can, we all need to make up our own minds about these things. I think I read somewhere that it took Adjani actually several years to recover properly from her performance here, and when you see it, you will see why. You will see why, because you have never seen a performance like this. Even Sam Neill went as far to say it's the most extreme film he has ever made in every possible aspect. What works with the film more than anything is that it absorbs you right away. Like, right away, you're in this movie, like you're sucked in, and that is what great directors do. They let the viewer come into this world, not necessarily lovingly, but the door to this world you're about to see is open regardless, right? And I think this was actually one of the most notorious. I think it was a video nasty, I think, back in the day in the UK, and in a way, yes, it's out there. Film, it's the example of it's film of human behavior and emotions that the most unrestricted, that makes the film so unsettling. There's feelings of paranoia, losing a grip on reality, the impact that relationships can have on people, and how they break down. And this is not a body horror movie that it was sometimes sort of marketed as, but it's at its core, and it's about an extreme emotional breakdown of two people's marriage. And it's one of them films, and even if you don't like what you see or experiencing, it's fantastically directed. Some have even said the film is too serious. Okay, yes it is, and maybe not an easy watch for some of you out there, but there is a reason why over the years this movie has turned into sort of a real cult gem. It's mad, it's unpredictable, it's unhinged, it's horrific, it's shocking, it's downright ludicrous, but it's a film you have to check out. I really do advise any of you out there, if you're into your movies, if you do want to watch movies that are not mainstream, that are sort of classic movies that maybe not everybody's known about, maybe have a look at giving Possession a go, because like I say, you will watch it and you just will not be able to get it's a hard watch, right? It's a harrowing watch, and it's the kind of movie that is great, but you have to be in the mood to watch it. Okay, you can't just put this on and sort of chill out with it on in the background. you know, like, and if this is a horror movie, if your people are labeling this as a horror movie, I wish more horror movies would give their characters as much backstory as we get here. It's like as we enter this truly mad world. I mean, this if somebody said, okay, this is a horror movie, no horror movie in existence probably gives a, you know, like, we get so much backstory here with these characters and who they are, and like I say, the performances. I mean, I love Sam Neill. I think Sam Neill's a great actor. I love him basically anything he's in. But when you look at this film here, very different to what you usually come to expect something like Sam Neill to do. I say obviously quite early in his career and things like that, but as I say, I think he said it's just one of the, you know, most extreme films sort of he's ever made. So this was a movie I had to watch just for nothing else. I was just so damn curious about it. So Sam Neill plays Mark, and Adjani as Anna are having like marital problems. Okay, it starts simple enough. They're having marital problems, and watch how like the Swarovski loves to like pan around with the camera and the low angles. Like, where if you watch the scene where Mark is having like a meeting with his bosses, just watch the way the camera just pans around this big empty room. So Mark finds a postcard from this Henrik guy, right? So Mark is a spy, by the way, who was just returned home. He confronts his wife about this at this cafe, and the movie just throws you right in. And make no mistake, this is not a movie that holds your hand, right? This is not, like I say, this is not a comfortable movie. It's a very unsettling movie. It's a harrowing movie, but this movie does not hold your hand. She says that the sex is better with this guy, and this cafe scene is incredible as they start sort of shouting at each other full force in like the world's most quietest cafe like / restaurant. Then Mark just goes like full Godzilla and absolutely wrecks the joint, right? He totally wrecks the joint. It taps into what a lot of people, you know, people would be upset about the most, is like if their spouse cheated. You know, was the sex better? You know, if somebody has been unfaithful and you thought you were in a loving marriage, you know, you would, all them emotions that would be going right, you would be angry, you would be upset, you would be, you know, the whole idea of processing that, you know, call it insecurity, call it pride, whatever. So Mark like trips out in this hotel room, and after like 3 weeks he finds their boy has been like sort of left alone. They have a son, right? So someone said the film is like, I don't know if any of you know the film with Dustin Hoffman and Meryl Streep, Kramer versus Kramer. A lot of people have said the film is a bit like the creature version of that movie, and in a funny sort of way, that is an almost fair analogy. And what you get with this film, as I say, is real raw performances, and it really does draw you in. This guy phones Mark and says Anna is staying with me, and he goes to visit this Henrik guy thanks to Anna's friend Margit. So I love how it is all manic when he gets there and ends with like Henrik and Mark. They even have like a mini fight sequence, and this is when you, if you didn't already know just how bizarre and out there the film like and the characters are, like for some reason Anna finds it hilarious when her son is doing like Bar Black Sheep for some reason. Mark realizes at one point Anna wasn't with this guy or with her friend, and she's not. He starts to realize that she's not completely telling the truth about what's going on. So she wants to leave Mark, and he's like slapping the crap out of her, and like, believe you me, it's no wonder the actors were sort of traumatized after making this movie. It's one of these movies that once you get drawn into this world, there isn't much you can do to escape it. Like, you have to keep watching because you want to know what happens at the end. Mark sort of wants someone to follow his wife for a few days, like this private detective, and some reason in this scene they both, if you watch this scene, they both love their swivel chairs, right? They're going crazy on their swivel chairs. Then in a really tense scene, Anna goes to basically slice her throat with a meat carver, which absolutely just comes out of nowhere. And, you know, to follow that up, Mark just starts slicing up his arm, which is really cleverly shot, by the way. So she gets followed, and she is on like public transport, and there's a really odd moment when this like drunk like takes a banana from a bag of shopping for some reason. So this guy tracks her down to this apartment, and his excuse to get in is he's sort of checking the windows. He finds this thing in the bathroom which you can barely see, and sort of stabs in with this like broken bottle. We have this like school teacher Helen, who is Adjani but in like a dual role. Then this Henrik guy pays Mark a visit and for some reason starts throwing himself all over the stairwell. It just is crazy. Like, me going through this review is probably making the film sound absolutely, completely, like I say, what the hell is going on in this movie. And whether I describe it or whether you watch it, I think it's still going to be the same. You know, it's a real mishmash in this movie. Sam, you know, talking about that, I mean, you got a real mix up of cultures as well. Like, Sam Neill is from New Zealand, Adjani is French, you know, for some reason their son is a Londoner, and the director is Polish, so you got loads going on here. So Mark gets told the detective never came home from the chairman of the agency, and he goes to visit the address, and this is when we get sort of the reveal of the creature. I won't go into explaining the design, but it's just a thing, right? It won't go too far into explain that. Nothing is explained about space travel, aliens, or anything like that, so I'm not even going to go there. Anyway, she's like, he is very tired and made love to me all night, and then she shoots the detective with his own gun. Then we have this weird segment where she's like talking to the camera on this video that Henrik sent Mark. So she returns home, and it's quite clear they are, but like at this point, if you didn't know, they are both absolutely crazy and both having a mental breakdown. And she is doing like weird stuff with her hands and is like talking to herself. But as I say, watch it for the performances, as our two leads here do an amazing job. So if you want to watch the scene to end all scenes, watch the subway scene where you have probably one of the most intense freak out crazy moments ever caught on film. She suffers a miscarriage and she goes like mad beyond belief. It's a super violent miscarriage which you have to watch and endure. There's fluids, there's blood, etc. But as I say, Adjani's, her performance in this is just, it's a real powerhouse of performance. So Mark tells Henrik about Anna's apartment, and he goes to see her and sees this creature, and we sort of see its face and find like body parts in the fridge, and she like of course stabs him. Like I say, make no mistake, this is one of them films that it's almost too serious. I know I could do understand where the criticism where people say it is too serious, like you know, it could have done with lightening up, because it's a tough watch. It is a really tough watch. So Henrik flees and phones Mark. He stops by and finds body parts in the fridge. Mark, though, doesn't believe him and thinks he is high, and Henrik's like, we have to help her. So what does Mark do? Well, he whacks him over the head with a toilet lid and then buries his face in the toilet, right? And he scatters his drugs around him and tries to make it look like suicide. Oh, and he then like blows up Anna's apartment and steals like Henrik's motorcycle as well. So then he finds like Margie bleeding to death and Anna in the apartment. Then out of nowhere, showing how unpredictable sort of the film is, the two get it on in the kitchen. And look how Adjani here goes from like really cute and sweet to like totally mentally unstable in her expressions, and that stare she gives, it is like it's such a creepy stare. So they're getting it on, not worried about Margie, of course. I mean, he ends up putting her in this like body bag, and how he manages to carry her downstairs and put her in the boot of his car, I have no idea. He then gets a call from Henrik's mum where he keeps flicking the lights on and off, and he drops like Bob the boy off at Helen's, and he's going to find Anna. And this is where we see her having sex with this thing, right? Okay, and meets Henrik's mum, who sort of kills herself. And for some reason, this banging music cue comes in when his bosses want him to return to work. So the police find like Margie's house, and we get some awesome shots of Sam Neill sort of riding a motorbike, and like he gets the taxi driver to ram their cars to sort of cause a distraction. I mean, there is nothing about this film. I'm sort of crashing through the ending a little bit, but there's nothing about this film that is normal. You know, let's make that clear. Anyway, he has like a crash and he goes to get into the building. Anna randomly finds him with the creature in human form, as the creature has now gone into human form as Sam Neill, and they both get like gunned down out of nowhere. The creature, as Sam Neill escapes, and the real one sort of throws himself down the stairwell. And we get sort of one of the darkest endings ever, with like their kid drowning himself. And Mark's clone visit the teacher Helen with all these sort of explosions going off in the background. And it's like I say, when the ending and the credits come up and the film's over, you're exhausted, right? You're absolutely, because there's so much that has happened in this movie. Like I say, we've had sort of a creature feature, but we've had sort of a drama, and there's been so much, a real roller coaster of a film. But when people say it is too serious, yes, it is sometimes too serious. Like, it could have done with maybe taking, putting the brakes on some of the intensity, but then I think that would have kind of defeated the object of what he was going for here with Possession, and kind of the film that he wanted to make. So it's out there film, right? It's really out there. But this is why I love cinema. Like, when done like this, when it is so unpredictable, rather than giving audiences what they want, how about we give them what they don't expect? And as mentioned, there is a reason why people like Hitchcock, Kubrick, etc. are all up there, as they sort of subvert sort of expectations that let you entice you into this twisted world that you're about to watch unfold. But check out Possession though, amazing performances, wonderfully directed. You may not want to watch it again for a while, if you go to see the movie, but believe me, this is a film that will stick with you for a long time. But if you have seen Possession, let me know in the comments below what you thought of the movie. So thank you very much indeed for watching. Hope you enjoyed the review. I'll see you again soon.
Don't concentrate on the finger, or you will miss all that heavenly glory.